Hi, this is Jason McCarthy at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the first Wycombe Wanderers show of the season, although we were on last week, so strictly speaking, even that's not true. I hope you're well. I hope you're looking forward to the big kick-off of the new campaign, which of course gets underway at Adams Park on Saturday with a visit of Exeter City. We'll be previewing that. We'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield, of course, prepares to start his first full season in charge after making 9 new summer signings. We'll be hearing from one of them, Richard Keogh. Jack Grimmer joins us as well, who is the second longest serving current player as well. We're looking forward to chatting to him. We had him on the first show before the start of last season, so it's sort of tradition now as well. Phil joins us in a few moments' time as well for our pre-match briefing. There was a brief suggestion that he might be in a different part of the show, but we thought, no, keep him where he is. He'll be happier that way. Also, of course, if you caught his Ringing the Blues, which is now going to be live on Wycombe Sound on a Tuesday, then he caught up with a number of members of the 1887, the fan group who are looking to improve the atmosphere at Adams Park on match days. So we'll be hearing some of that. We'll catch up with Ryan as well from the ticketing office at Adams Park, and also he's the supporter liaison officer as well. Lots to cover with him, including the fact that the club are getting out into the community and sending speakers from all different departments from the club to local organisations to talk at perhaps your event. Perhaps you've got you're involved in some sort of group which would really benefit from that. That's on the way. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there's anything else. Also, we'll be telling you about what you can expect during this coming season on the show, including more from Wycombe Wanderers Women. We'll be, of course, continuing our links with the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, and also in this hour, being the first, unofficially, Wycombe Wanderers show of the season, we'll be giving you the team's predictions, the team working on the show, and even myself as well, as to where we think the Chairboys will finish come the end of the season. And by way of a disclaimer, I think in every year we've done it so far, this is the 4th season of the show, starting tonight, then I think we've been way off each time, so please don't take any notice of that too much. But we'll give our predictions, and we'll put them on... Well, I don't think we do say what they are normally till the end of the season, actually. Or do we? Can't remember. Anyway, we'll put them on a pillar outside and we'll stick them there till the last one of the season and reveal them. Anyway, I don't think that made any sense either. But for... we'll cut that out. That won't be in the podcast version, if you're listening. Oh, apparently we'll. Then first, though, let's catch up with Phil, who, of course, will be bringing you full commentary from the game against Exeter on Saturday. But first, as you can imagine, looking forward to a new season.
Yeah, really excited about the start of the season. We all miss the football, don't we, on a Saturday? It's a long season, and maybe the first few weeks of summer were nice to kind of grab a breather, but yeah, Saturdays is football, isn't it? 3 o'clock. So yeah, great to be back at Adams Park this Saturday, and so much change as well. So a lot of unknowns going into this game, which is very exciting as well.
So what have you taken from what's happened over the past couple of months with the comings and goings and the changes?
I think it's been a really good opportunity for the gaffer to kind of really lay the law down in terms of who he is as a coach, put his entire philosophy across. I think it was a very awkward stage for him to come in last season. The full pre-season as well gives him a chance to kind of assess what he's got, and he was making those plans already, but he had to wait for the window to open to kind of see what happened. I think there's been so much change, a lot of established players leaving, some the choice of the gaffer, some the choice of the player, which has meant that we've had to get more players through the door. The signings have been really exciting. It's been brilliant to be involved in the announcing of those and seeing the reaction of the fans, and least of all is we now need to discover on Saturday what these new ingredients make. What cake do they make? How are we going to play? And what's it going to go like? There's so many variables and things in football, but it's wonderful to see the club coming together, the fans coming together to improve the atmosphere as well. Maybe the sun might not shine on the opening day of the season because the summer hasn't quite started yet, but it should be great. Wycombe Wanderers at home on the first day of the season. What's not to like?
It's the old adage, as fans, we need to be patient, or will we see this new team hit the ground running and be playing a completely different style of football, perhaps?
I don't know. I really don't know, because every team would have made a lot of changes. Our opponents on Saturday, Exeter City, have made as many, if not more, changes to their playing personnel. So it's very difficult to predict at this stage of the season. I think a lot of fans, we've spoken to a few on Ringing the Blues, and they were saying that, if the challenge will be the clicking and the gelling of players, and the change of the style. If it connects really quickly, then it could be incredibly exciting season. Or if it takes a bit of time and we need a bit of patience, some fans are saying that mid-table could be where we're at, and that wouldn't be a disaster or a bad thing. But this is the brilliant thing about this stage of the year, because we're all dreaming, aren't we? We all want to be up there in that top 6, or dare I say it, even the top 2. It's a very open division. If we can get a bit of luck, stay injury free, and click, the younger players can rise to the occasion. They can learn off the older ones. If they can stay fit, we could have a really special season on our hands.
There's always huge optimism, isn't there? First game of the season, every supporter of every team thinks their team's going to win the league, and I guess especially looking out for a particular moment of magic from perhaps a new signing or just an established player as well.
Yeah, and I think maybe I've spoken to Rob Keogh too much, but if you're going in with the attitude of you think you can't win it, then what's the point? And like I said, I think it's a really open division. Yes, there's going to be bigger teams with bigger budgets out there, but we've proved down the years it's not all about that. I'm really excited to see how things have changed. I'm looking forward to seeing a new pattern of play on the pitch, seeing how that is dealt with, and I'm going to see how long it takes your opposition fans to stop moaning about it.
And you've seen many opening games of many seasons, and I guess in a way you shouldn't really sort of take too much into it, especially if the result doesn't go your way, but there's still plenty that can be taken from those opening exchanges.
Yeah, I'm sure every team would have had not the most ideal preparation. Life isn't like that. We've had a lot of injuries to contend with. We've had stuff to deal with in terms of players coming and going. But the positivity around the place and the environment up at the training ground is excellent. So everyone's very buoyant and looking forward to it. And we'll have to see what happens when that whistle goes on Saturday. I can't wait to hear it. From a commentator's point of view, it's a nightmare this time of year because, like I say, Exeter, I think, have had sort of 9 or 10 players leaving and then new signings coming in. We've had similar amounts, so it's even more research for me at this stage. But, we're looking forward to getting my head around that as well.
And something really nice for you as well, being in the Bill Turnbull Gantry course and looking ahead out at the freshly laid pitch and the dugouts around the other way as well.
Yeah, it's going to get a bit of getting used to realise that we've switched to dugouts. It's been a long time the other way round. But yeah, I think it's a really good choice by the gaffer. He wanted to be nearer the fans. It makes perfect sense. And I look forward to seeing a Jose Mourinho style run down the touchline when Wycombe score.
And we're talking about the players' preparation, but as you touched on Ringing the Blues as well, that the fans have been putting in some effort as well.
Yeah, and that's super exciting. I think being stuck up in the gantry, sometimes you don't really feel or hear the noise from the home terrace quite so much. We read and speak to the fans' thoughts about what's going on there. There were at times at last season where it was really flat, and I think that's not just a Wycombe Wanderers problem. I think this is a wider football problem after the pandemic, possibly. So yeah, it's really great that the fans have taken it upon themselves rather than sort of wait for the club or someone else to kind of change things for them. They've gone, no, this is our club. We want to play our part, and this is what we want to do. So there's going to be banners and flags appearing over the next few home games, and I can't wait to see them. And more importantly, I can't wait to hear them as well and hear the chants and the drummers back. And I really hope to see the terrace bouncy. Look, my heart is in the terrace. That's where I first started watching Wycombe Wanderers. When my first season tickets, when we moved to Adams Park, I was on the terrace. It was a great place in the 90s, and I look forward to hearing them again and hearing some great chants and seeing people have fun, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
And we'll hear from the manager later in the show as well, but it really feels quite an exciting time for him as well, just sort of starting his first full season. Yeah,
what a baptism of fire it's been for him. But yeah, he's done all of his exams and his coaching badges and his UEFA Pro licence. An enormous amount of work and preparation, which, enormous amount of work is a phrase we use with Matt Bloomfield all the time, because he's one of the hardest working people I think I've ever seen. And it's been great to see him applying all of that and dealing with all the things thrown in front of him. And his sort of relentless sort of upbeat positivity and creating the right environment. It's been a real joy to watch him at work, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the fruits of his labour.
And especially, I think, obviously, because he's been here such a long time as well. Most clubs, when they have new managers, it will take them a while to settle, but he obviously knows what he'd like to kind of create here as well. Yeah,
I mean, everyone will know his history with this club, and the football media as well will always talk about following a dynasty, which is kind of what it is after Gareth left after 10.5 years. We've seen in other clubs where managers have been there for a long time and had huge periods of success. It's very difficult, but I think in Matt Bloomfield, it's someone who's deeply ingrained in this club, and I think if anybody can have success in this situation, it's him. And yeah, to see the work that he's done, and going back to the dugouts, these changes that, they're conscious and they're subconscious as well. They're making sure that people are aware of who's the boss here now, and he's done that really, really well.
And obviously, personally for you as well, it must be really exciting to get back to get your books back out again and get ready for the games.
Yeah, I've got my multicoloured biros all ready to roll, and like I say, I've been ahead of the internet, learning about all these new players for Exeter City, learning about all these new players for Wycombe Wanderers, of course. So, yeah, can't wait to be back in the commentary box. Unfortunately for David Wheeler, he's up there with me, and I say unfortunately because it means he's injured. But he's going to be with me on the opening day of the season against one of his former clubs, Exeter City. It's his commentary debut as well, so that should be fun. But always great to have a player alongside you because they see things so much differently than I do as a fan and as a commentator. So, yeah, looking forward to that immensely.
Should be a great game. Looking forward to hearing it.
Good stuff. Cheers, Colin.
And we'll hear more from Phil a little later on in the show as well, who's been catching up with some of those responsible for boosting the atmosphere at the ground this coming season. Let's now, though, bring you something more behind the scenes from the club, and we'll let the person that we've been speaking to introduce themselves.
My name's Ryan. I'm the ticketing and supporter services executive for Wycombe Wanderers Football Club. I'm also the club support liaison officer, so that means working with the EFL and other EFL football clubs in our league, as well as across the other two leagues that participate within the EFL. So just looking out for supporters, helping with any general queries, looking at how we can improve the matchday experience, and obviously the ticketing side of things, liaising with the home and away supporters for anything ticketing related, and just really supporter services in general. Everything feeds through to our department, and we just help supporters ensure they have the best matchday experience as possible.
Is it a really interesting time to be involved with the ticketing side? Because I think, that it's quite different for fans, isn't it, how they get their tickets as opposed to, say, just even a couple of years ago?
100%. So most clubs now have gone digital. I'd say we have changed drastically with our digital experience that we give our supporters, from everything to do with not just ticketing, but from marketing, from our commercial and hospitality. Everything now is in this digital age. So we have moved with that as well. Away tickets, as much as still paper, still allocating paper tickets, which is still a pain. A lot of time consumption in my job goes into that. But again, moving into that digital age means supporters' experience flows more, and we can put different things into a supporters' matchday experience because it's digital.
It must be really interesting as well, just looking at when people get their tickets. You can still obviously buy a ticket on the day of a game, or you might decide quite a few weeks in advance which games you want to go to.
Yeah, exactly. I think most Wycombe residents will know that we have very limited parking on site at Adams Park. So, there are alternatives to matchday parking elsewhere on approach to Adams Park. And, we've done the test ourselves just on a standard 4G connection on your mobile phone. You can walk from the bottom of Hillbottom Road all the way to the top and be at the Adams Park gates, and you've paid for your match ticket. So the way that we've changed the digital format of buying tickets is, revolutionary, that you can do a 5-minute walk and you've already got your match ticket, when at the bottom of the road you didn't think you'd be able to get one.
And I guess as well, there must be many challenges, say, for example, for cup games or if there's quite a short notice for maybe a playoff final, for example, or something like that.
Yeah, playoff finals, we've got experience with them here in the ticket department. Again, like you said, there are challenges, but you overcome them. We ask supporters to just be patient with us all the time, because, we're always getting details. Some things might change very last minute, but we just got to think on our feet sometimes and think, what's the best way to help us and make sure that we get the information out quickly, but make sure that information is correct for supporters so that they can still have a enjoyable matchday experience without any issues.
You must get quite common questions from fans as well, who perhaps want to buy tickets separately or need to sit together if they've bought a previous ticket. Or
Yep, we always try and accommodate to as many requests that come in. Sometimes it's understandable that we might not be able to, but it's that we can move tickets up until kick-off. A supporter can come into us on a match day and say that their friends come along, but there's no tickets next to them. We can make sure that all their tickets are accommodated in the same location, whether that means they need to move stand or move to a different block in a certain stand as well. So we're very welcoming, very accommodating to any requests we get before a match day or on a match day.
That's fantastic to have that flexibility, isn't it? Because I think supporters perhaps might not be as aware of that as well.
Yeah, we try and push it out as much as possible. And again, this all supporters need to do is that all they need to do is contact us, and we're more than happy to just advise, give them some extra assistance. Even on a match day, we don't tend to offer a meet and greet service, but there are occasions where if it's a first time fan that we know has made us aware that they might be nervous, might not sure where to go, we put some parameters that ensure that they get to maybe from the car park to their seat in one swift journey, and obviously stopping along the way on the various villages, Chairboys Village and the away village, maybe in that way as well.
Tell us a bit more about the supporter liaison officer role as well. That's really interesting.
Yes, so it's something that every club in the EFL is required to have someone in that position to be a supporter liaison officer. I'm only 20 years old. I've been a Wycombe fan since I was about 7. I'm coming to match days every now and again. I was a season ticket holder on the terrace before COVID hit. And then I was just lucky enough to then work within the football club, and ever since working my way to this role now, as well as alongside my ticketing that I do on a day-to-day basis. But it's something that the EFL requires clubs to have, and it's just about having that supporter. If a supporter gets in touch with the club, that there's a representative for that supporter as well as the football club. So sometimes it might be an individual that is a supporter. It might be sometimes it might be that it's a volunteer. But we, as a club, previously it was Matt Cecil, who's our head of media. Again, Wycombe fan just like me. So between us all, we all know what we're looking at when looking at the supporter services side of things. But yeah, it's something that every club has, and it's something that every club, I think, should utilise more with supporters and getting out into the local community with them as well.
It's really great the role the club does play in the community, and something that you're doing, especially to highlight that, is getting speakers out to organisations, which is a brilliant opportunity as well to pass on the expertise that the club has in not only on and off the pitch as well.
Yes, so we just recently announced that we're looking to get representatives from multiple departments within the football club. So, for example, the football department, ticketing, retail, media, commercial, just out into the Wycombe community in different local organisation groups like schools, sports clubs, career fairs. We want to get the Wycombe brand out there, but we also want members of the public, maybe current supporters, current fans, to understand that to get a football match on, there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes. Not saying that we're forgotten about. People do understand that we are there, and that we are the ones making sure the events and the football matches that we hold at Adams Park go ahead. But just getting out there to get the Wycombe brand out there, for people to understand who Wycombe Wanderers are and the people that are the behind the scenes people behind the club.
That must be what's so rewarding for yourself and the rest of the team behind the team, if you like, that you ensure that supporters do have such a good time when they're at Adams Park or when they're interacting with any of the other staff. Yes,
feedback that we get from our supporters is just amazing, especially when they highlight the key staff or key departments that have helped them throughout match day. We got highly rated in our recent EFL Family Excellence schemes. Again, recognition for our volunteers and especially our car park staff. They're just brilliant at what they do. Again, happy smiley faces, here to help our supporters, first-time fans in particular, and those in the local community as well.
And what must be especially nice for you in your role as the supporter liaison officer is, that the fans' kind of keenness, if you like, to improve the atmosphere on a match day as well, with coming together and the 1887 on social media especially. And I know they've recently had an event at the Hourglass as well to kind of discuss. And this sounds like a terrible pun, but might work quite nicely to sort of drum up support.
I like what you did there. So yeah, with we're looking at all the time how we can improve the match day atmosphere, and we understand that sometimes it has been a bit, let's say, quiet. The way the away stand is built, you could have 20 supporters in the away stand. It will still outpower in noise from anywhere else in the ground. But, as a club, we've identified that there needs to be some improvement within the atmosphere. So we have worked with terrace season ticket holders in particular, because that is where we produce much of the noise from the many chants that we have going for our players and staff as well. These talks that we've had have been very progressive. Some great work has been done by these people alongside myself and Neil Peters, the head of business operations for the football club, and Tony Hector, one of our board directors, as panelists, shall we say, for the meetings. We've looked at how we can drum up the atmosphere by bringing back the drum, to Adams Park, which is, again, something that the fans have wanted, that we've spoken to. And we're currently going through the process at the moment of allocating that drummer to whoever it may be. But also looking at the pre-match music, something that we know supporters know when they hear a certain song that they might make a chant from it that is about a player, or certain songs that fans know that it's like a countdown to kick-off. So it might be 15 minutes to kick off when they hear a certain song. So we have got a playlist of songs from up until kick-off now that have been introduced, and they'll be played up until kick-off for fans to join in and have a good sing-along as well.
It feels really special, doesn't it? We're going into sort of a new era with the new manager, perhaps with new fans coming along as well, who, go into the new season with anticipation. I think everyone goes into every new season with anticipation, don't they? But it's just a question of being able to maintain a really good atmosphere, as you say, at the ground, and a real good feel-good factor going into the start of the campaign.
Exactly. The supporters that we've been speaking to, they've been very great with working with us to want to improve the atmosphere. They're positive, just like we all are. As you said, new players, new manager, new season. There's so much positivity, I would say, around Adams Park, around the training ground. From what we saw against Cardiff on Saturday as well, there's so much to look forward to that I think that will help build the atmosphere at the ground as well on match days.
And really pleasing for yourself and the team going into the new season with, when season tickets went on sale, just to have a fantastic uptake and people rebooking as well.
Exactly. Renewals have gone really well. The subscription model that we have for a season ticket has just meant we've been able to retain a lot of our season ticket holders compared to other football clubs that might see a smaller loss in season ticket holders. The subscription meant we had about, I believe it's 60% of our season ticket holder fan base from last season remain season ticket holders for this season. So they did not have to worry about renewing, which has just been brilliant for us. And it's meant we've been able to look at these other things like the atmosphere within the terrace and be able to make sure that all supporters are involved in that as well.
And has there been a real sense of anticipation and excitement in the office, just, as the first match day approaches?
Yes. As always, match week is our busiest week. I would say before every match day, it's the busiest week ever. We're always running around the office, trying to think of new ideas on our feet that, can drive attendances, not just for the fixture coming up. We're working 6 weeks ahead, thinking 6 weeks' time, what can we expect? What sort of themes can we do on match days? We've got a few themes coming up for match days this season, which we're planning for, which we're looking forward to announcing soon as well. But again, tickets for Saturday, it's an excited time. We want fans to be here. We want fans to be sharing the positivity that we have seen off the field within the office. And, when we speak to supporters that come into us on a non-match day just in the week, they're excited as well. They're ready to get going. They want to see what Matt Bloomfield can produce on the field as well.
Really great to get the behind-the-scenes view from Ryan, who's from the ticket office at the club, and also the supporters liaison officer speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound. And there's more from him on the Listen Again feature on the website from this morning's mid-morning, which you can catch. It was just about 25 past 11 we spoke to him.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll hear the thoughts of some fans who caught up with Phil ahead of the big kick-off, and we'll hear from one of the 9 new signings who, if he's in the 11 on Saturday, will be his 600th league start. But now, I'm very pleased to say we can chat to someone who is the second longest serving current player and has in over 100 appearances for the Blues, scoring 2 league goals. I'm very pleased to say Jack Grimmer joins us. Very good evening to you, sir.
Hello, mate. Good evening to you as well.
Real pleasure to speak to you. Thank you very much. I don't know if you remember, but we also spoke to you on the show before the first game of last season, so it feels sort of tradition now as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you reached out. I was more than happy to come back.
It's a real pleasure to have you on. How was your pre-season? Hope you had a decent break before it all started again in terms of the actual football as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a nice break. It's always good to get away with the family and refresh and get a fresh perspective on things, and then you come back sort of ready to go for the new season.
I don't think players really like pre-season though, do they? As such.
No, absolutely not. I think you go from having the best month of your life on holiday, enjoying yourself with your family, to the worst month of your life when you're just running. But to be fair to the gaffer this season, the pre-season has actually flown past and it's been really enjoyable. But we are fit and ready to go. So it's been a nice blend, I would say, of running in matches, which has made it pass really quickly.
It's not been the best of weather for you, though, has it?
Well, for me, it's been amazing. I'm not going to lie. For me, I've loved it. I think there was a couple of days that it was sort of mid-20s and nothing but sunshine, and all the boys were struggling in the heat with the runs that we had to do. So when we got a little bit of rain, I'm not going to lie, it was welcomed, but probably we were the only people that liked the rain that day.
So how did you find the pre-season games themselves?
They're good. They're always tricky, I think, because you are trying to inevitably you are trying to get fitness, but you also want to win the game. I think winning becomes a habit very quickly, and that is always tough to do. We've had such new faces this season. It's it's sort of vital that we all gel as quickly as we can, but with that you need to get the fitness work in. You need to stay away from injury, and I think the boys have hit the ground running, and hopefully that proves to be the case on Saturday. And
do we see you had the captain's armband in some of the pre-season games as well?
Yeah, I have. I've the gaffer has been very, very nice to. I've found myself being very fortunate to have the armband. When JJ hasn't been playing, I think you touched on it there about being the second longest serving player, which is something I'd never envisioned, because until Wycombe I had never really felt that settled, and then you join a club as great as Wycombe's with a fan base and the community feel to it, and you all of a sudden feel at home. So yeah, I feel very fortunate to any time that I put on the armband for Wycombe, and hopefully I don't do it that often because it means JJ is not playing. But when it happens, I feel very fortunate.
Does it feel really special as well? Because you're part of, I guess, a fairly exclusive club who've played more than 100 times for this club. It's really nice when we speak to ex-players as well who've kind of passed that milestone as well.
Yeah, I think it is a great milestone to pass for any club, but for such a family-orientated club, the players come back and still speak so highly of their time there. It is a really, really nice feeling. I'm, not quite as long as JJ is part of the furniture, but I'm sure I'm well on my way.
It must feel quite nice for you in a way, because you are so well established, and what the new faces who've come in this season and previous seasons, it feels like for them, and great that you can kind of make them feel so welcome. Remembering what it was like for you when you were new.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a team and a club that is massively evolved since I joined the club, and it's about the next steps to how we can continue to take it forward. I think probably last season and the season before, you start the expectation on your shoulders of that the fans want to get promoted, and that was obviously never the case when I first joined. So it was, I've been thinking a lot recently about how I can help the club evolve, and with the change of manager, it's quite nicely timed that we're maybe going in a new direction now, and hopefully it's a successful one.
As a dressing room, do you make a sort of conscious effort as well at the beginning of the season to think, well, we did this last season, it'd be brilliant to sort of build on that and achieve a bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's been helped massively by the players that the gaffer has managed to get in. You look at the faces and the names coming in the door with the wealth of experience, also blended with the youth and the excitement that they might bring as well. I think if we can get the younger players hitting the ground running and up to speed with the men's game quickly, I've seen enough in training to think that they're going to be excellent players for us. So it's, credit must go to the gaffer for the work he's put in over the summer. I mean, us players are away enjoying ourselves, and he's probably never off his phone. So, I think the credit definitely goes to him and the recruitment team of, Mitch and everyone behind the scenes, and obviously the owners for backing him. And it fills us with a lot of positivity for the season ahead.
And does it feel like, we'll hear from the manager as well, but a bit of a sort of a new era as well, the start of his first, sort of full season in charge?
Yeah, I think it was always good to get away on the off season, and, kind of gives you a bit of perspective on what's happened, and, it also makes you excited for what's to come. And I think we've had lots of discussions over the summer about what direction the club wants to move in. And, I just feel sort of fortunate and excited that I'm a part of it and that I'm here. Because, I can't speak highly enough of the gaffer. Since he's came in, he's not that we needed a breath of fresh air, but it has felt like that at times. So it's, hopefully we can, kick on and we can repay the faith that he's shown in us, and we can have a positive start.
And as players, do you feel, each season it seems, doesn't it, that League One feels a bit sort of tighter and a bit closer with the teams that have come up and those that have come down as well?
Yeah, I think there isn't much to separate League One sides. I think most leagues are pretty similar, but League One always seems to be the league that I think a lot of teams start their season with the ambition of at least making the top six. I think I've seen a lot of teams, your Portsmouths and even your Stevenage, they've all signed a lot of players, and it's just how quickly they can get those players to gel. I think it definitely is a competitive league that I think anyone fancy their chances in making a run for the playoffs.
And do you have sort of personal goals going into the season that you'd like to achieve that you'll feel has been a successful season?
Honestly, if the club ends up in the playoffs or promoted, then I don't really care what I've done in the season. But from a personal note, I think you touched on it there. 2 goals. I think I would like to be scoring more, but as long as I'm on the pitch and helping contribute to wins, I'll happily go under the radar and just do my bit behind the scenes.
And it must be quite difficult to sort of predict in a way what's going to happen on Saturday, because 2 teams at Adams Park who've gone through so many changes since they last met as well.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they've had a few of their players cherry picked, but it is the first game of the season is always a funny one because you don't really know how any team is shaping up, and there's always quite a few surprising results. But the one thing I will say for the fans and what we have in mind is that no, your position isn't sorted by the first or the second or the third league game. So it's one that we're desperate to win, but it's one that by any means doesn't define our season, of course. But I think if you can get, especially at home, I've been very lucky that we've normally, I think, started every season at home, and we've normally had a good result. So, if we can just start the same on Saturday, I think it gives everyone that bit of momentum. And
great for you as players as well to I guess, sort of put on a good show for the fans that are coming, especially for the first game of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I heard your interview before coming on about getting sort of bums on seats as you wish, and it is an important thing for us. We do want to put on a show. We want people to come and see us play, and because I can tell you for definite that it does make a difference for us players. Hearing the support from the side is always massive for us, especially when there's tricky games at the backs against the wall. That encouragement from the side really can be the difference. So, like you say, if we can start positive and put on a good show, then hopefully that'll encourage more fans to come along.
We wish you all the best for Saturday, obviously, that coming season. Look forward to catching up with you throughout the campaign as well.
That's great, mate. Thanks again for having me.
A real pleasure to chat to you. Jack Grimmer speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound ahead of Saturday's opening game of the season.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on the final part of the first Wycombe Wanderers show before the season, although we did do one last week as well for Joe Jacobson's testimonial. I hope you enjoyed the Cardiff game if you went along to that. Of course, there's football back at Adams Park this Saturday with Exeter City. We'll hear from Matt Bloomfield and Richard Keogh still to come this hour as well. Plus, much to look forward to in terms of the season on the Wycombe Wanderers show as well. There's a brand new post-match show to look out for as well after the game is finished on a Saturday. We'll be bringing you live commentary on a Tuesday night as well. MK Dons this coming Tuesday as well. Much to look forward to. As mentioned, we'll be bringing you regular reports and updates from the Wycombe Wanderers women camp, obviously with the Women's World Cup on currently as well. They're having a number of pre-season friendlies, the first team at the moment, and their season doesn't start, I think, till the first week in September, but we'll be bringing you interviews with the manager and many of the players as well. And, of course, we'll be resuming our partnership with the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association as well. As you've heard throughout the show so far, though, you're probably aware as well that a lot's been done to improve the atmosphere at Adams Park. If you're listening to Ringing the Blues on Tuesday night, a new home here on Wycombe Sound for Phil's excellent podcast, he has been speaking to a number of members of the 1887 who've been meeting and planning what they can do at Adams Park.
So Matt Bloomfield has assembled his squad. Things are looking great on the pitch, but what about off the pitch? And in the terrace and the stands in particular? Well, this summer, the 1887, a fans group has formed to boost the atmosphere at Adams Park to get behind our heroes and help them get 3 points on the Saturday at Adams Park. And we're joined by Dan Clark, Carl Drummond and Chris Spratt of the 1887 to find out a bit more. Good evening, gents. How are we doing?
Evening, Phil. Yeah, not bad.
Evening.
So let's get the name out of the way. 1887, for those of us who are new to the club or may not understand, why is it the 1887?
Because that's the year that the club were formed. So we thought that it was a really good way of actually remembering our history and engaging with those fans who actually may not be familiar with our past.
Okay, and Carl, we've spoken before about the challenges of the atmosphere on the terrace in particular.
Yeah.
So what are the objectives of the group and how are they going to achieve those?
Really, the objectives that we wanted to, when we touched on this a couple of seasons back, Phil, it was about uniting the terrace, and not only the terrace, but the fan base as one. That's what we wanted. And we wanted to have an area initially to begin with where fans could come together. We can all congregate in the same area with the same intention, which is really just getting behind the team every week and supporting the team in the most positive manner that we can.
Excellent. And is there any sort of inspiration? I mean, I've been to football in Europe and around the world and other places. There's always sort of crazy drummers or musicians or just people in general, as you say, congregating in an agreed area, almost a sort of unofficial area. Is there any inspiration out there, any particular clubs that we think, yeah, we can do that?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken to a couple of the football organisations around the country. So the Ipswich have been really helpful with us because they've got their own fans group. They've been great with giving us some advice. In terms of other inspiration, I mean, if you look to what Crystal Palace have done with the Homesdale Fanatics in their end, they've done fantastic since they've formed over the years, and they've really brought positive changes to their football club as well, with their atmosphere and their displays, which, I mean, they're breathtaking week by week. Some of them, they're brilliant.
There's also been a fundraising element, Dan, as well, which is has raised an awful amount of money very quickly. What's going to be done with that?
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, when we first started this, we didn't know what kind of traction it would get. We knew there was a desire for something like this, and we knew people did want to do something about kind of getting the atmosphere going. But when we put the fundraising out, it just flew. I mean, literally overnight, didn't it? It was unbelievable. Our plans, essentially, everything that we use it for is either going towards contributing towards the atmosphere or initiatives around the club that is going to improve, match day experience. So we've already invested in some banners and some flag poles, which are crazy expensive for what they are. But things like that, and we've got rigor and structure in place to kind of decide, right, over the next few months, this is what we're going to spend it on. Obviously, with it being a fan-led initiative, we're putting out designs and things like that to the fans, getting them to vote on the designs that they like and things like that. So it's quite important that we kind of keep on that track and just use it wisely.
And there's a social side to this as well. I mean, I couldn't go on Friday, unfortunately, but you've all met in the pub already. And I'm sure, well, all the best ideas come from the pub, don't they? As the evening wears on, they get progressively better, the ideas, I find. How was that?
It was great. It was a really nice evening. It was a great chance to meet people who we've interacted with online, a chance to put like faces to Twitter names, and just a chance to share ideas and share chants and share quite a few drinks, as Kyle will testify.
I'm just about over my hangover now.
I mean, without wanting to get too serious, I mean, we've just come through a pandemic. I've noticed in society, not just in football, quite a lot of changes out there. And I think football has really felt those as well. Do you think that the pandemic had an effect really on the atmosphere, not just at Adams Park, but just around football grounds in general?
Yeah, I think it has. I think football culture has changed a lot, certainly since the times like in the mid-90s when most of us started going on the terrace as well. And there's lots of reasons for that. Certainly the pandemic has been one of them. And I think a large part of what we're trying to do is the 1887 isn't just about making the atmosphere better in the terrace, which obviously we want to do. Obviously, as Carl's alluded to, making the atmosphere better in other parts of the ground as well, but also bringing back like the community element of what football is. And that community element isn't just about going on the Saturdays and going on the terraces. It's actually opening it up for everybody. So the 1887 is not just about those who are going to stand in the terrace. It's not even just about those who are going to be in Family Stand, the Frank Adams or the beach scene or whatever. If you are passionate about this football club, as we all are, if you want this football club to do better and be better like we all do, then the 1887 is for you. And one of the great things, Friday was certainly great, but just for a chance to share ideas on Twitter and through the social media like we've had, and some of the chants we've had has just been fantastic. And I think that's the whole point of what we're trying to do, bring that community element back and make it a more unified way in which like it used to be in the past.
Great to hear from the 1887 gang who have been chatting to Phil. And if you missed it, you can hear it in full on the Ringing the Blues podcast, which includes some brilliant chat about chants. Jack Grimmer has an ABBA-based chant, of course, and there are some new ones to listen out for as well. And of course, if you've listened to Ringing the Blues, you'll know that the club is looking for an anthem. Dusty Springfield, Only Want to Be With You, is definitely one up for consideration with the lyrics and the fact that Dusty Springfield went to school in Sands as well. So there's all sorts of links there. Wherever you get your podcasts from, you can hear that in full. And don't forget, if you haven't heard, Ringing the Blues is part of our coverage here on Wycombe Sound. Now you can catch it on a Tuesday evening from 7, also on a Thursday. If you're listening to the podcast, it's on a Thursday. If you're listening now, it's now from 7, another series of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. And then on a match day for the home games, our match build-up kicks off from midday with Rob and the team in the car park. You'll also get Nigel and Sally and Luke there as well. And then Phil, of course, and all your match build-up for live kickoff and commentary from 3. The kickoff will be live, I can guarantee you that. Full commentary on 106.6 FM. Also, the away games, the match build-up starts from 2 hours before. And also, there's a brand new post-match show for this season to look out for as well. It felt like I took quite a long time to explain all that. But anyway, it'll be fine. That's that done. Lots to look forward to in the new look side. We'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield as well. But first, I've been catching up with one of the 9 new signings. A player, as mentioned a little earlier on, who, if he's in the 11, will be his 600th league start. Richard Keogh. Let's find out how he's settling in.
Really well, yeah. I think it helps that I played against a lot of the lads throughout my career, but settled in so well. I think the club itself is very easy to fit in here, and everyone's so welcoming. Everyone's really good to help, and I feel like I've probably been here longer than I had. Thought it's been a couple of months, but I probably feel like I've been here a lot longer. So that's credit to everyone here, really. But loving it, loving training every day with the boys and getting to know them a little bit better as well, and so really enjoyable. Is there a real familiarity in a way from your time here before? Yeah, of course. Naturally, when you come through the training ground, all the memories come flooding back, and I was a lot younger then, but still, no, you never that feeling never loses you. When you come into training every day, and we're very fortunate to do the job we do, and like I say, so. I love just getting out there and just training and playing football every day, and like I say, naturally it was some great memories come flooding back when I first come back through the door. So credit to everyone, really. And it's something that's especially exciting, the experience that you've picked up at other clubs that you're looking to bring here and help both on and off the pitch. No, exactly that. I think, like I say, when me and the gaffer spoke in the summer, that was a big part of it as well. I think. The group's got some good experienced players, but it felt like we probably needed another one. Hence why I'll probably come into the mix of it. But again, like I say, I want to contribute on the pitch, but again, I'm here to help. And I think in sort of my situation, I was lucky that I learned from sort of senior pros, and I always said to myself I wanted to do that. I wanted to give back. I've been an experienced, I managed to play quite a lot of games and seen a lot of things, so I enjoy that part of it just as much as training and playing every day. I love trying to give back and help, and that's why I'm here as well, for the younger group to sort of lean on if they need to, and so that's why I'm here as well. That must be nice, especially for players in your position as well, just to sort of come to you and say, any questions. No, exactly that. Because I did the same when I was younger. I learned from some great players, and I just wanted to be a sponge, and I wanted to soak up all the information, and that's what I tried to do throughout my career. I just try to get the best out of myself every day, and and see where it took me. But exactly, that's why I'm here. If there might be a situation where I've sort of maybe seen a lot more times or experienced than some of the younger centre halves, if they want to say, in this situation, what do you think? And like say, you can pass on. Not that it's going to be 100% correct all the time, but I feel like I've probably got a good understanding of a lot of the situation. So exactly, that's why I'm here to pass on what I can, and it helps me as a player because I'm learning, but hopefully I can make them better players as well. And you've been a captain, of course, as well, and it must be fantastic to be part of that kind of senior group as well. Yeah, no, exactly that. I've been quite fortunate that I have been captain at certain clubs I've been at, and my country as well, lucky enough, for a couple of times. So Yeah, listen, like I say, there's great senior pros here, and just to come in and be part of that group. Like I say, we're we've got a real good experienced group, like I say, and we just want to pass on really, and just make everyone feel comfortable, because I think when you're comfortable and you're relaxed and you can play your best football. So I think that's a great part of what we do here, and like I say, that's to credit to JJ, Vokesy, people like that have been here a long time, GMAC, Scully. So credit to them really.
Does it feel like a really enjoyable, exciting time to be joining with the new arrivals, and obviously the manager starting his first full season as well?
100%. I think that's a big reason why not just I signed. I think a lot of people signed. I think you can still feel the buzz around it. Wycombe's been successful in the last 10 years, and obviously when Gareth done a fantastic job and they experienced some highs, but naturally in football things change, and you want it to all last forever, but the gaffer coming in and, like I say, having the experience of Colchester, but coming here and he's a Wycombe man, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He gets the club, he understands the club so much, and like I say, he wants to put his own little sort of stamp on it. So I think everyone's really excited, like I say, with the players we've brought in, and just can't wait to get going now really.
And does it feel like it seems like each season League One seems even tighter, doesn't it? And the teams that have come down obviously have come up.
No, exactly that. It's such a tough league. I think the quality is definitely gone through the roof in the last few years for sure. It's never an easy league to get out of. Like you say, I feel like the quality's really improved. It's probably a mini championship really. A lot of the teams have been in the championship, haven't they? So again, it's going to be a tough season. Like I say, there's going to be bumps along the way, but I'm really excited about this group and what we can achieve. And like I say, if we just keep working hard on the training pitch and keep trying to get the best out of ourselves, then anything's possible.
I was saying as well that if you make an appearance on Saturday, it'll be your 600th, which is a fantastic kind of landmark for you.
No, that's Seth mentioned me that. To be fair, it was a pretty wild stat when he said it, but listen, obviously if I can play Saturday, then that'd be amazing. I've never really thought about stuff like that. I think when you're emotionally in it, I think you're just thinking about the next game or what you can do and recovering and stuff like that. So it's something to be proud of. I think, like I say, I think when I finally do sort of retire, I'll probably appreciate these things a little bit more. But at the moment, like I say, I just want to make sure that I can be at the top of my game and like I say, and try and contribute in any way I can. And we'll see what happens at the end of it.
Richard Keogh speaking to us at the training ground. That's the music you can hear in the background. Might have been rain as well. Did rain a lot whilst we were there. Also took the opportunity to speak to Matt Bloomfield, of course, who's starting his first full season in charge, having taken over to I guess a difficult point at the end of last season after Gareth Ainsworth moved to QPR. Must have felt like a bit like getting on a runaway train, or certainly a moving train, not necessarily a runaway. But fantastic to have the summer and the pre-season to bring in new faces into his backroom staff and also the playing side as well, and also get the team over the summer playing how he'd like to as well.
Yeah, it does feel like a bit of a fresh start, I guess. There's been loads of change over the summer, probably more than what we envisaged going into the summer break in May. So there's been lots of change. It's enabled us to get some good work in on the grass, and we're looking forward to getting going. Like I say, it's been a really interesting summer, really exciting and frustrating in equal measures for different reasons, but we're extremely excited to get going on Saturday.
I know you're really pleased with the business that you've done and those that you've recruited.
Oh, most certainly so. I think there's been a couple of months of real hard work in terms of, it was obviously slow to start off with, but all the work was going on in the background, and it's amazing how suddenly it all came together within the space of a couple of weeks. We suddenly got a lot of signings in the door, so I've got to be really, really pleased about that. A lot of hard work's gone in, and we're pleased with the players we've got in to complement the boys we already had in the building.
Is there any sort of behind the scenes stuff you can tell us, that these players that you've sort of targeted for a while, or have you just been looking at more recently?
I mean, Dale Taylor I went to watch in the final week of the season. Burton played against Cambridge, and I travelled to Burton to watch before we went to Portsmouth on the Sunday. I went to watch Dale. Obviously he scored against us and was a pest all afternoon, and I wanted to go and watch him again, so I went to watch him. Obviously Kian we went to watch as well. Went to Stevenage to watch Spurs against Man City under-21s to get a good look at him before the end of the last season. So it's been a good few months' work, which obviously Luke Leahy we've known about a long time, and we just had to be patient with that one, whether he was going to be available or not, and we were really pleased to get him in the door. So none of these are overnight. They seem to feel really sort of quick. When it comes to a resolution, it suddenly drops. it's all exciting, but it's months of hard work and conversations and background checks, because you have to make sure that you get the right people in the building as well as the right players.
And how do you feel you've done in pre-season with the players, both on the training pitch of what you wanted to get across and both in the games?
Yeah, I think as with any new group, it's going to take time. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. There's going to be lots of time for learning along the way. Like I say, we're integrating a new group, putting that group together, which is going to be an interesting way of doing it. There's obviously a lot of new faces. It's been extremely frustrating to not have everybody outside all of pre-season. It would have been incredible to have 6 weeks of one group all working together, but we've had to try and drip feed it in different places as much as possible. So obviously these are the challenges that football management brings, and we just try and approach it head on as much as we possibly can.
Is there anything in particular you'll be expecting or looking for on Saturday from the players?
Hard work, determination, resilience, togetherness, running for the badge, being there for each other. They're the basics of any football team that's half decent. That's the basics of what we want to see from our boys. Of course, there's technical and tactical stuff that we've been working on that we would like to see, but in terms of what I want to see and have to see, it's all about the hard work, togetherness and team spirit, and everything else comes off the back of that.
Obviously you don't look too far ahead, but August seems a really busy month, doesn't it? Is that a good thing in a way, because you'll be able to get a good look at everyone?
I'll be honest, I've never understood why you suddenly go from having 3 months without any football to playing 5 games in 2 weeks. It doesn't really make sense to me, if I'm honest, in terms of coming off the back of a pre-season. But I've never understood it as a player or as a coach or as a manager, but that's the way it goes, and we have to approach it as best we can. It's going to be interesting, isn't it, I think, because there's new protocols around added time, multi-balls to ball in play time, and so I think it's going to be an interesting start to the season. I believe that substitutions are going to be important because it's going to be a squad game for us. So yeah, it's a busy start, but we're looking forward to getting stuck into the games.
And exciting for the fans, and I'm sure for you and the team as well, to be starting at home.
Oh, most certainly so. I've been really pleased with, I've been getting feedback from Cess and the media team about, the fans have been receiving our new signings and seem to be really excited about the season. So we're really pleased to be starting off the season at home, and we want to put on a good show as best we possibly can.
And really pleasing for you as well that supporters are making a real effort to improve the atmosphere at the ground, and you've switched the dugouts as well, part of that.
Yeah, most certainly so. Again, at Colchester, I was near the home fans, and it felt great for me to do that. And here, one of the things I wanted to do over the summer was to be closer to our supporters. I've always been really lucky to have a real good relationship with them, and I wanted to be close to them. And I know there's a lot of work going on about improving the atmosphere as well. So I just feel like everyone's buying in, everyone's trying to help us move forward. Obviously, we want to be successful within the parameters of what we can live, how we can live as a football club, and I think we need to make sure we do that.
Is that something that's especially exciting for you, just seeing all your plans come to fruition?
Yeah, most definitely, because you can work as hard as you can behind the scenes, but the only thing that matters is a Saturday afternoon. We have to be really mindful of the fact that as a football club we've been chasing the championship for 2 years, and Rob and Pete have been backing that, but we have to make sure that the survival of this football club and who we are and what we stand for is the most important thing, and I have to be mindful of that when I'm running the club, which is absolutely fine. The club is everything to me, and it's everything to the supporters, and we have to be, like I say, we want to be successful within the means of what we can be.
And I guess we'd say this about any team coming, but Exeter will provide a real challenge, I guess, too.
Yeah, they were very good, weren't they, when they played here last season, when we played against them, the way they moved the ball, the energy they played with, their pressing, the way they passed through the lines. I thought they were extremely impressive, so it's going to be a tough game for us. We watched their game against Coventry from last weekend. We know what they're going to bring, but one of the things I do want to concentrate on this season is us, and being the best version of ourselves that we can be, and if we can do that more often than not, then we believe that we can pick up points.
And what will be your message to supporters going into what is not only just a new season, but it feels like kind of a new era as well?
Yeah, it does feel like that. I guess with the gaffer here previously being here for so long, whenever he left, it was always going to be a tough act to follow and a new era, so to speak. So a message for the supporters is number one, thanks for their support so far, and I hope they're really looking forward to the season as we are. We'll give it everything we've got, and we're looking forward to the roller coaster that we're about to embark on.
Pleasure to speak to you, the manager. Big thanks to him and all our guests this week on the Wycombe Wanderers Show. A quick reminder as well to listen out for the return of Knowing Me, Knowing Blues. Also the guys that work on this show, including Phil and Luke, who's been signed to the media team of the club you might have seen, and Craig and Nigel and myself as well. We've all put in our predictions. They're in a sealed envelope. Can't tell you what they are, but possibly a bit over-optimistic in some cases, but or perhaps a bit more pessimistic in others. But we'll be revealing those on the last show of the season as well. If you are going down to Adams Park on Saturday, do enjoy the day. Hopefully it's a fantastic game. It'll be brilliant to see the new kit, the new players, and hopefully a fantastic result for the home team. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back at the same time next week. Many thanks indeed for listening, and up the week.